All right. So the goal here, hopefully, is to only go about an hour, maybe two at the most, but I don't have time. I haven't had time at night, so you gotta do this during the day. And I do actually kind of want to get through some of this JFK stuff because I'm actually kind of interested in not so much what's in here, but more like how the process worked with this, like back in the day and stuff like that. It's actually kind of interesting. So let me see where we are here. I believe I'm on page 4. Just gotta put part 4 in the title. Don't mean much, but I believe it was page 4. I'll know when I hit the first one. I think, yeah, I think that's a new one. I believe. Let's go back and let's look at. Yeah, that's where we are. Okay. So, all right. So JFK files. I mean, it's been interesting from like the procedural point, more so than what's actually in it. At least to me. Damn it. This thing's glitchy. And that's kind of why I'm interested in this. Let me make sure everything's going here. I don't want to spend a crazy amount of time doing this. For some reason, and I don't know why, for some reason on my channel, it tells me I have 1,000,000 upcoming streams for 2020 and 2022. I'm guessing those are streams that I got rid of, but for some reason, StreamYards is just making a mess of my channel. At least from my point of view. But let me see if I can find this live stream. I don't even fucking know. It's like for some reason, if I do a live stream for Vegas, it'll show up immediately. If I show up just on a simple search, if I do a live stream about this JFK stuff, it doesn't show up. I'm not saying there's anything funny there, but yeah, something strange. Let's see. So live, it's got a bunch of upcoming. Yeah, it's not even showing that I'm live right now. Let's see if StreamYard's showing that I'm live right now. Yeah, showing that I'm live. It's showing that someone's in here, but for some weird ass reason, it's not saying that I'm live right now. Let's try redoing the search. The way I do it usually is I look it up on my phone, and I jump in my own chat just so if I got to chat with people and I'm on a different screen, I can see it. Wow, JFK stuff's coming up, but not my own stream. What the fuck, dude? Come on. Okay, there it is. Let's see, can I hear myself talking though? Okay, there it is. Yeah, there it is. All right, and I see you. I see you in the chat, so that's good. All right, so it's working. How you doing, man? How you doing? Oh shit. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna have to do this stuff earlier because yeah, my work schedule has not been nice with the doing this at night. But I say it's this has been interesting. I mean, like that stuff last week with the last one I did with them like basically taking over reporters and the CIA pulling psyops with news agencies. That was interesting. That was very interesting. think it's pretty fucked up. But to know that that's been going on since what 1949 or something like that, it's like that's pretty interesting. It's pretty fucked up that our government would do that, but whatever. All right, so dispatch. What is this? Let's see. Attached here with our contact reports a meeting with Lee Tamil. I'm guessing that's like, I don't know if that's named or what. It seems like that's their way of redacting shit, is just making up fucking nonsense, but I don't know. That could be an actual person named Leroy Tamil, number 9. So July 1963, so this is before the assassination. Contact report, blah, blah, blah. Don't know what any of that means. Is there 201 form? No 201 form on this guy. Secret classification. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun one to read. Holy shit. Let's see. Okay. It's an unexpected meeting. I'm guessing was supposed to be held, but it says was hold with this person at whatever 6 hours. Oh, okay. 17 July. Barker had a scheduled meeting with this person at the corner of, oh God, is that actually a name of a, is this like filled with errors, or is that a name of an actual street, or a City National, and whatever at 2100 hours. I guess doesn't matter. Names of the streets don't matter. But A1 was something in place at 2103. Oh my God. And I bet you this is like actually kind of interesting. It's just trying to read it. It's going to suck. Oh my God. Let's see. Then stop by the corner of, let's turn this down a little bit, Gutenberg, and where he is a, where is a payphone to make a call to A1. But as B's car pulled up, Tamil stepped out. Ooh, that's like added in there. That's like, what do you call that? Like added in like a serial killer, man. It's like someone cut it out of something and then added it in. So this must be, yeah, I'm guessing this is like just a code name. And that's how they're redacting stuff, or they're redacting stuff back then, I'm guessing. Stopped out of the, that can't be Bush's. There's no way. And said in English, "Here I am." Got into the car and let's see, drove away. The mystery was, oh God, I don't know. And then explained that he had called. Is it the mystery? I don't know. And then he had called B's home about 20, 30 hours and spoken with B's wife, who said he's out and would probably be back in about half an hour. L was called. Way to phone again from the payphone at Gutenberg and Thiers. Usual place, something point, I don't know. When he saw Barker pass by, later spotted the car pull up at the corner. He assumed by this time that Barker had spoken with his B's wife and received the word that L was, I don't know, him that night. That a coincidence? Is that a coincidence? I guess. Explained his presence in the area, partly whatever, by saying he was casing for better pickup points. Let's see. Something was made of another scheduled meeting with A1 drove. I don't know what that Gutenberg is. That the Gutenberg highway to the vicinity of his damn motel, something motel, where the meeting was being held. L9 was dropped off at 23:25 hours. Oh shit! It even gets worse. How could this get any worse? Jesus. Revealed again his concerns about security. The now ambassador and cultural something are such sharp people. Hence, something more dangerous. The complete clandestine communications, something were explained. Let's see. I don't know what that is. Scheduled and non-scheduled. God, this is a fucking mess. And warning. And okay, so somebody's trying to warn somebody. I think security's fucked up. I don't know who this is though. Let's see. Let's see. To Cuban engravings. Man, this is like reading just a bunch of redacted shit because you can't read any of this. Something July. July. Return about 21st of July. Something Jose. Cuban consulate. Will last about 2 weeks. He reported additional developments. Something 25th of July will be held in a suburb of Tampico. This celebration will take place in the. Okay, I don't know what any of this is. The principal opening, I'm guessing. Don't know. Rico something. Will take place at something. Access. Stink bomb. Oh God. Okay, something about a stink bomb. Man, this is terrible. Who was so this must be a microfiche or something like that got blown up. Let's see. Support, blah blah blah. Don't know. I can't read any of this. Something position in the United States and is planning to go there. No further details. Okay, at least it gets a little better. She was introduced to the First Lady by Barrios. Is that Senator? I don't know. The new something counselor, tell that whatever, something ambassador in going to be bonuses. He has done much harm to, is that Cuban something relations. This person also reported that the is that Mayacino? I don't know. In Cuba is it's having serious troubles obtaining, I don't know, net sprint, net. I don't know. I think I saw that word before, but I can't remember what it was. Said that when he was in Prague, he had trouble with the climate, asked to be sent to some other European country, was surprised at the suddenness of the transfer to Mexico. Are we talking about the Russian dude again? In response to questions, oh my God. Oof, this looks terrible. As in response to questions as to who would be the man we might most, is that fly? It looks like fly, but recruit among the embassy staff. I'm guessing try to recruit amongst the embassy staff. I said L said he had his doubt about Joran's loyalty to the Castro regime, whatever might be recruitable, but wouldn't dare do it himself. I assure L we would ask him to undertake sudden risk venture. Goes along San Juan D. Fuck, man, I don't know what any of this shit's saying. Might be appreciable there. Only 2 Cubans were invited to the French ambassador's residence on is that Castillo Day? 14th of July. Ambassador Hernandez I don't know. It looks like armies and L. Each would separately, but L in the ambassador's air. The ambassador was, I don't know, clearly impressed with L's standing with the French. L is in close and something of the French military attaché, to which he introduced the ambassador. And blah, blah, blah. Got L by his side during the fuck, this is crazy. And it looks like a lot of this was, well, the French thing looks like it was, no, it's just outlined. When they outlined that section, I can't even read it. At this of his Soviet in a superficial manner of don't know, became clear that the Cuban something Soviets in the, yeah, dude, I can't read any of this. Let's see. That would be letting. Yeah, I can't read this. Another young man. Something I am. Yeah, this is kind of pointless. Just reading every third word, man. It's like reading something that's redacted, really. Let's see. In fact, they are fronting for the military. Da, da, da. Oh my god! I thought it wouldn't get any worse than reading that 201 shit, but this is like horrible. Um, was in the embassy on something in July? Question marks. Spoke with whatever his group or non-Castro visitors in Ecuador. Something together to go to Cuba and probably got, I don't know, as a gift for whatever. Let's see. Something is on the forthcoming. Something of, yeah, okay. You gotta read the middle of this. Is the place in something in dealing a man named Times? It's got to be another code name. Hey, government, have the out of, yeah, okay. With that, none of this says anything to me. Fees paid by uh, something delegates, the Mandarin delegates, which can't be Mandarin. I don't know. Embassy seems unduly upset by the restrictions, transactions with Cuba, something. Oh, thank God. Oh, shit. Here we go. Let's see. So L turned over to B for return a handbill put out by Escola. It's, yeah, something like that. Escala or something normal. Rule de Santa, whatever the fuck, don't care. Dated 10th of June, 1963, explaining the school's invitation to Fidel Castro to act as sponsor of the 58 to 63 graduating class, copy attached. Okay. Turned over pornographic cartoon for return, distributed by Pro Castro Elements in Tampico, copy not attached. Wilfredo, the Cuban consulate Tampico, reported that liaison Calderon he's a sister residing in Reynoso. Is that supposed to be Tampico? I don't know. Married to an American of Mexican descent. Luisa may go up to the border to visit her sister soon. For her mother, may make a trip. Details not clear. L9 reports that he is uh, very walk-in with the new ambassador, who seems to respect him highly and to admire him for his contacts. He is also getting along very nicely with his new boss, Paricio. His information gathering method is still to keep eyes and ears open and ask no questions. Thus, he often gets only fragments, while questions or discreet uh, elicitation might fill in details. He is extremely wary lest he arouse any suspicion. All right. While he suspected redacted, obviously, it's a weird way of redacting shit, but I guess cigarette burns on fucking microfiche works. Um, redacted might went to toss a few stink bombs at the engraving exhibit on the 20th in Tampico. Wow, dude, are we fucking 12? That's crazy. Stink bombs of all things. Um, and subsequent celebration of the 26th in Cuba or Ciudad, Ciudad Maduro. Um, he was also concerned lest any disruption might get him in trouble, since he is the principal organizer of both affairs. Felt that the Mexican government might think the disruption was engineered by the Castro Cubans themselves to throw suspicion at the anti Castrodites, Castroites, Castroites. Interesting word. So he set this shit up, and he's is this like a false flag? It sounds like a false flag using stink bombs. It's like guy's gonna let off stink bombs at an event that he organized, trying to blame it on Castro, but he's afraid that it's gonna blow back on him and give suspicion to the anti-Castro people. That's what it sounds like. It sounds really childish and stupid, but that's what it sounds like. Okay, so have you found anything interesting in any documents so far? Really not like what you would think would be interesting. Um, not like we're not talking about like who killed Kennedy kind of stuff, you know. That's not what's interesting about this so far because we're not finding that. Um, what's interesting to me is how the FBI works and how this is all like how this is all happening. And what they're investigating, you know, the people they're investigating, stuff like that. That's interesting to me. And then the fact that you have basically in these files, you have the admission that the FBI and the CIA were co opting the news media at the time. And we're talking about, I think it was 49. They said they started with that guy. And, but it tells you that, yeah, the FBI and the CIA have been involved in co-opting the media in America, you know, for well, not even just America, because the guy was sending articles, I believe, down to Venezuela or something like that. I think it was Venezuela or something. But you know, they were co-opted by the CIA and the FBI. Well, the FBI knew about it; it was being co-opted by the CIA, and that was something that came out of the last round that I read. So to me, that's interesting, right? You know, not it doesn't tell you who killed Kennedy, obviously, but you know, it is interesting that they're like admitting, you know, to this stuff. But of course, this stuff wasn't supposed to get out. So, and then the fact that Australia was deathly afraid of a cable getting out saying that they were spying on their citizens. They were wiretapping people, and they didn't want anyone to know that they were wiretapping people. And that it sounded like to me, I could be wrong, but it sounded like what they were saying was Australia was freaking out because Australia knew it got sent to the Warren Commission that these cables were getting out about who they were spying on, and they didn't want it getting made public through the FOIA system. So they kept writing to the American government like, "We don't want this getting out. They were spying on our citizens." So that was kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. Um, but a lot of this stuff, it's hard to read. It's like this is kind of a mess, you know. And I read the basically the manual on 201 forms, which was boring as shit, and all the redundancy that has to go into something that simple, you know, which a 201 form is basically how they keep. It sounds like, and I'm sure it got like spread. The net got spread a lot wider than what they're saying, but they're saying that 201 forms are basically something to keep an eye on and to basically create a file for um, important people like ambassadors and stuff like that. And all the nonsense that went into that, which is stupid because, you know, it had all kinds of, it had a whole like manual on how those work. And it was what had to be written, what boxes had to be filled, all that sort of stuff. And then if you wanted to request those forms, because we're talking about before the internet. We're talking about before, I mean, even really computers for the most part. Although some of it was in the 70s, so you would have had something remedial back then. But you know, the they're talking about how if you want to get one of those forms, you have to contact the embassy that would have that form, which would probably be the embassy of where that person was living at the time, I'm guessing. And you had to request that. And then if you want to change something in that, then you had to say what you wanted to change by filling out a different form. And then you had to fill out a form for a cover sheet for that form. And then you had to put it back into that file. And then that file had to go back to the person, to the office that originated the file. And then that office had to decide whether or not they were going to put that into that form. And then if they wanted to delete something from that form for redundant information, then they had to fill out another fucking form, and it had to go to another fucking person. That person had to, and it's just like, oh my God, no wonder the government is so fucking bloated. It's insanity. Well, they're spying on everybody, man. I mean, the Australians, I don't know who, I don't, they use a lot of pseudonyms on all this stuff. So like, they don't have to redact anything and stuff like this. Instead, what they do is they do stuff like what they're doing here, where they're calling this person L9. Who the fuck is L9? L9 could be, which in this, I think it's an actual person, but what we saw last week is L9 could be a person. It could be a news agency. It could be an agent. It could be anything, and so, you can see on this, and this number 7 right here, this L9 right here, is obviously, it looks to me like it was added in. It doesn't look like this was part of the original writing. It looks like there's probably Bob is really worried, whatever, and they covered it with this L9. And like I said, this is before the internet, before computers. They were typing everything out. Looks like they may have like whited out a name and then put L9 once they figured out what they were going to call this guy. So I don't know. I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. It won't be the last. But, that's what it seems like. So, yeah, a lot of this, like, they didn't have to really redact a lot of stuff because it's already been kind of redacted. Or it's been covered, it's been given pseudonyms. Let's see. So for the president, it has been decided to keep holding meetings. See, a lot of this stuff like this here, I don't know if this is what, because I can't read a lot of this. I think what this is they're talking about the Russian guy who gave, what did he do? He was down in Mexico. Lee Harvey Oswald was down there trying to reclaim his Russian citizenship. He went down to, I guess, Mexico or something like that. And this was a dude that was talking to him, I think. And then they're investigating that guy. I mean, there's a couple interesting things, like I guess, and I'm only partway through this, man. I mean, I'm only on page 4 right now. This is what I'm reading, is page 4 of 3,662 or something crazy like that. So this is very remedial, but I don't think I'm ever going to get through all of it, but I'm going to do what I can. And but what you had Oswald, what looks like from what we've seen so far, and statements from the Russians and stuff like that. Oswald seems like kind of a piece of shit, which obviously I guess he is, but whether he did it or not, even if he was a patsy, he was kind of a lazy sack of shit, is what they're putting him down to be. He went to Russia. He went in the military. Then he, after he got out of the military, he went to Russia. They were saying in one of these that a lot of, something I watched on YouTube, I guess. They're saying that when you go through these reports, you're seeing the Russians were noticing that a lot of ex-military were ending up in Russia. Were like basically denouncing their citizenship and then going to Russia, becoming Russian citizens. So the Russians would sit there and put people on them to watch them. And so this guy was working, Oswald was working in a lathe factory, or working in some sort of factory. I think it's an aeronautics factory or whatever, but they made him a lathe technician, right? So he didn't really have anything to do, with some of the technology and stuff. He But his boss later ended up being some sort of attaché for fucking Belarus or some shit like that. So his boss was kind of a big guy, a big deal later, which tells me he probably was at the time also. So then Oswald ended up dating some girl that claimed that this person who was blowing the whistle on this was saying that, uh, that the girl who was dating Oswald worked in that factory, and that girl had no interest in him past the fact that she felt sorry for him because he was all alone in the country, which tells me that was probably his handler, most likely. And this Russian guy even says everybody had a handler when they came over to Russia from the United States. So stuff like that, just the way things work was kind of interesting. For the president, has been decided to keep holding meetings. Oh geez. Okay, I got this too zoomed in B's car, always at night. This pickup point has been abandoned in favor of a mobile pickup. L will start at the corner of, looks like, Tears and Mullahor Ocampo at the prescribed, and this, I think most of this is like having to do with Cuban Missile Crisis or Cuban, the Cuban stuff, right? Missile Crisis, Bay of Pigs, all that sort of stuff. At the prescribed home, and move slowly up the street to Tears and Gutenberg. Then, without bargaining, will work without, I don't know, will work his way back down the opposite side of the street to Melhorn Ocampo, Ocampo. B will cruise by in his car and make the pickup while L is walking. Other is that something details will be worked out at the next meeting. So it sounds like they're just setting up meetings. Okay, that's that. Like, I didn't get anything out of that, dude, because all the stuff that kind of looked interesting was so just bad that you couldn't read it. But it's interesting. A lot of it's interesting. So now we're in Bangkok, Chief Station Bangkok, Chief Station Melbourne, Rangoon, Bangkok. Okay, so we're talking about Southeast Asia, and then Melbourne. I don't know what Patrick is. Let's see. So director. Let's see. Please advise if still desired that Melbourne station contact subject. In response to a brief letter from the undersigned, which queried his general plans, subject has replied per attachment. See note that he can make himself available after 4th of November, 1968, for discussions with Melbourne. Okay, so this is after the assassination. The station defers to Bangkok and director whether it is still desired that we summon subject to Melbourne for talks along with the lines indicated in reference D. 2, for Rangoon, note penultimate paragraph of subject's letter in which he indicates that his daughter and family are planning to leave Rangoon permanently. The manner in which this is phrased leaves it unclear whether they are attempting this overtly or working behind the scenes. The station notes from Bangkok, May 1968, that the daughter is married to a Burmese Air Force pilot. Shit, they had Air Force pilots back then? What? Since we do not have any names, it may be unlikely that Rangoon would have any information in the case. What case we're talking about? Who knows? Because it's not all about, the assassination. We're talking about 1968. Let's see. Dear Mr. Thank you for Oh, they redacted it. Yeah, you can see they redacted. Whoever Mister is, they redacted it. And it's pretty archaic. So, yeah, they redacted some of the shit. Thank you for your letter of 23rd September. Rerouted here. I am something. I'm sorry I couldn't come and see you on my way back home, where something, is that a name? I don't know. Looks like a Thuin. No, TH. Looks like THRUYN or H. I don't know. About a week ago, I know I have something of the subject you wish to discuss with me. I am a friend in Thailand, and is that I don't know what that is. And he wanted to join his business, anticipating to, is that HERN? I don't know. I don't know what the hell he's saying. From this sum I renamed without taking up any job for something. Also, CIA is not called CIA back then. And in some of these, the CIA had some weird acronym they're using in all this. I recommend, or it almost looks like it says I rename within taking up any job for or whatever. I don't know. Something months. I have rejoined the Cuban. Is that Cuban? As shit, I don't even know. Puzon office, Puzon something / office. I don't know. On the God, he can't. Fucking people need to learn how to write, dude. We needed a better education system at this point. This job could be terminated. It's a note on either side. It's on a permanent basis. I am an I don't fucking know. I don't know what this guy's saying. Something communist, and dedicate my whole life to combating this enemy. Is aiming to destroy our freedom. Something one must make something for the future, plans for the future. I am reluctant to take up anything on a short-term basis. I would like to be in something point like that of the old contact in, I don't know what that is. When let's see, not considered when I explained after 2 years. When the office was made, that there were oh my god, fuck these people. Someone couldn't just retype this, man. Come on, come on. I worked something in Vietnam, and my so what is this? This is 1968. Yeah, 68. So Vietnam was just starting to hit. Um, and my whatever, and something police of Vietnam appre- appreciated my work. The Vietnamese government awarded me with. I was awarded award of the National Police Medal of Honor. I felt grateful, though that my work was uh, found meaningful. Okay, so that's what his F's look like. It looked like J's. Although I could not, whatever. Oh my God, yeah, I can't read that. Um, I am still very keen and gladly come over to discuss with you affair 4th November when the Puzon, I guess, officer, was that network or return of to duty. If you want me to, uh, there is a way. It is a very important point I wish to discuss concerning a. So that's his F's. No, it's a P. Personal manner. Dude's, yeah, his F's, P's, J's, they're all the same. Which could delay my future work by a few months if everything works out. Oh my God. Let's see. After Discord, this discussion, uh, if what the fuck, something about his daughter. It concerns my daughter, son-in-law, and grandson who are uh, intending to leave. Uh, I guess that's Rangoon for good for Australia. I look forward to hearing from you. Whatever. Once again, I thank you for your letter. Best wishes. Uh, yeah, and then that looks like that's been redacted. So maybe that's who Australia was spying on. I guess maybe. Thank you for your letter. So this is 1968 October in New Guinea. Letter appears in file. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Xeroxed. Okay. Xerox letter appears in the file. Xeroxed. They were calling it back then. I thought Xerox was a company. I thank you for your letter of the 23rd of September. Um, rerouting here, rewriting here. I don't know. I am sorry I couldn't come, and am on my way home. Uh, Home here while something through Melbourne a few weeks ago. Um, okay, I think I have an idea of the maybe of the subject your uh, wish to discuss with me. I met a friend in the. I met a friend in the. I don't know what that is. Perth. Yeah, some to Perth, and he wanted us to join his. Uh, something, anticipating to hear from you from this source. I renamed with I re is it rename remained? I don't know. Within talking up, yeah, I mean, kids cut off here, so this isn't even a full letter. Within taking up any job uh, for whatever, fine. I don't know. I have rejoined the whatever who's something Rio 2 as am uh, Pusan officer of the or Pusan personal officer. Holy shit! Of the copy, whatever here. Um, job can be terminated by 1 months while on something, although it's on a permanent basis. I'm an ardent anti-communist and can dedicate my whole life to combating this. The enemy is aiming to destroy our freedom. Okay, we read this. One arrest made. Uh, is that arrest? That's the first thing came to mind. Um, no, it's not. Make plans for one future. I am reluctant to take up anything on a short term basis. Yeah. So this is the same stuff. Same thing. Same thing. Just recopied. So I'm guessing, let's see. It's all the same shit. I don't want to reread stuff. Let's see. I worked very hard in Vietnam, and my whatever supervisor, the advisors, I don't know, and the um, something in Vietnam appreciated my work. The Vietnamese uh, governor, I believe it's governor, awarded with the award of get the Medal of Honor or whatever. Um, he had something to say, but he didn't say it in this letter, so that doesn't do me much good. And like I said, a lot of the names and stuff are redacted. So can't even look up who these people are, what they did. Let's see. Is this a 201 form? Looks like a 201 form. It is a 201 form. What do you know? Okay, so date September 77. All right. This form is attached to star listing. Must be returned to. Yeah, okay, whatever, dude. Howard Davis. Let's see. Okay, not much here. Let's see what a 201 form really looks like. Okay, send this form. Okay, don't care about this shit. Nothing checked. This form's gonna be really fucking boring. Let's see. So, exhibit hall, New York City. See aperture cards. Yeah, they talked about that in the form thing. Florida, Miami. This is a OCC pilot. These are all the places he's been. Flying for unidentified airline between New York, Chicago, and Detroit was with Captain William Morgan in Cuba, contact of looks like Subu or something, married to Cuban who works as technician for University of Miami. Locator data order. Yeah, okay. Why we're looking at this guy, I don't know. British agent in Zurich. Okay, so cross-referencing him, thinking he's this British agent in Zurich. In January of 1959, Davis Howard Thurman. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw, dude, but one thing that was interesting is there's a video. Uh, Julian Dory has a clip out of it of Woody Harrelson's father was somehow present in all of this. He was like, I think he was there on the ground when Kennedy was shot, and he supposedly was working for working for somebody. I don't know who he was working for, CIA or whatever. I don't know, but that was very interesting. Maybe it was when Ruby was killed. I don't know. He was there for one of those. Like Oswald, Ruby. I don't know. But yeah, Woody Harrelson's dad looks exactly like him. It's crazy. There's like there's no argument whether it's him or not. It looks like Woody Harrelson, but it's his dad, I guess. Let's see. What do we got here? What are they looking at? File permanently charged to CIRA, whatever. July of 1976. Let's see. Resides in USA. Frank Bartz reported lyric, whatever. Hemming Jr. Yeah, I don't care. Begin training a group of Cuban refugees for infiltration into Cuba as guerrilla fighters. Okay. So this guy was, I guess, doing that. Did it have a time frame? 76? Nah, dude. Couldn't be. July of 52. 62. 62. Okay. And then December of 67. Miami has a wide circle of acquaintances in Miami area among anti-Castro Cuban, anti-Duvalier Haitian groups. Okay. So that's what 201 form is, huh? Received date 59. Resides Guatemala, of Mario Alfredo Silva, whatever, Central Communication of Guantanamo or Guat Communist Party. Died 27 September 72. What is this? Is this the same guy? Yeah, same guy. Do we have any dates on these? No, not really. Oh yeah, we do have February 62 on this bottom one. Just says aperture card available. Okay, so that's just like, yeah, bookkeeping shit. All right, well, there's a thing with a dude who was, who I don't really want to look into too much, but that's a dude that was, damn it, hold on. I gotta get rid of some tabs here. So what do we got here? Let's see. Guatemala City should have been redacted earlier, but was not. Someone got fired. Let's see. April 1973 staff. Director info Miami, Mexico City, Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, San Salvador, Tequipacopo. Let's see, Mexico City. So director, Mexico City, Tecapa, Guatemala, Sao Paulo. So we're down in Brazil now too. Ident reports, Maria, Paul, whatever, Fritas, which, yeah, I don't know. Carrying Brazilian diplomatic passport, accompanied Miguel Russo into El Salvador via Nuevo immigration checkpoint. In 1973, traveling in automobile with U.S. Florida state plates, returning to Guatemalan territory via Ciudad Pedro de Alvarado immigration checkpoint on January 1973. See, like, I don't understand what all this stuff is, man. 1973, who cares? Who cares? I mean, we're getting into Vietnam here. Efforts obtain Russo's long distance telephone tolls revealed he often used telephone of friend, Omri, whatever, de Sousa. Latter's old acquaintance of this person who agreed. See, like, you know, that's how they redact shit, right? like doesn't have his name, who agreed cooperate investigation Russo's activities. Okay, so agency message. Morris said he'd helped Russo move what he thought was contraband, but now believes narcotics also involved. Yeah, sounds right. What year are we looking at here? April of 1973. Who gives a shit? Um, Russo has two sets false documentation. One citing birth, whatever, British Honduras. The other Spain. Conditions holds Brazilian diplomatic passport, which Mora claims Maria Paula Sousa Freitas obtained for him. Latter also has been Russo contraband collaborator, according to Mora. Mora said he recently agreed to by Russo to carry undisclosed package to Miami for 5 Gs, man. 5 Gs back then. Woo. Yeah, that's some money. Said he could arrange with American counterpart to protection Mora as collaborator if he would agree to carry package to make possible detection. Miami contact. Mora reluctant because he claims years ago he tried to cooperate with Interpol and almost landed in Miami jail as Interpol failed him. Feels, however, we can persuade Mora. So he got fucked. He got screwed. He doesn't want to do this. And they're like, no, we'll take care of you this time, dude. Yeah, sorry about that last one. But you know what, dude? We'll take care of you. Let's see. More queried by B27 on other Russo contacts. Said latter was to travel to Honduran border, whatever checkpoint, 20 something of April to contact person who helped him bringing contraband from Honduras. His person turned out to be local immigration chief, also in charge of customs. Jose Chepe Duarte Jr. Said Duarte from Chicula, I don't know what the fuck that is, son of former close friend of President Iran, Jose Chepe Duarte Sr., who killed by terrorist in 1972. Duarte, JH, has reputation involvement shady deals, but had to appoint him immigration officer on presidential orders. Oof. Well, the president down there was corrupt. Said he advised President Arana alleged Duarte connection with suspected trafficker Russo. President gave G27 green light, investigate, and take necessary action. Sent as metric team, whatever, 20 something of April to verify Russo Duarte contact, which as of 30th of April has not taken place. Morera also reported a frequent American contact of Russo is Miami resident John Martino, U.S., which that's probably a fake name, passport, who currently is staying at Hotel Maya Excelsior, Guatemala City. Personal check by, so he's staying in Guatemala. So it's an American contact staying in Guatemala. This is crazy, dude. There's people all over the place. Revealed Martino, close friend of Arturo Arana, president's brother, has taken Arturo on all expenses paid pleasure trips to Miami. This person is Logic 27. It's like freaking Twitter handles and shit. Commented President Arana, fully aware brother Arturo is influence peddler who has to be retired from Guatemala telecommunication job due to excessive graft. Whatever. Graft, I don't know. Agreed not to arrest anyone until members Russo network uncovered and sufficient evidence obtained to establish bona fide Morera. He observed uh, as metrics are only arm available to him. Conduct investigation, which we must do via acting as metric chief, and that is metrics lack narcotics training and experience. We'll advise further developments. Okay. That's all we got. That's all we got in that. That did not say much. Some drug trafficker. All right. Some drug trafficker. I don't know why that was in here, but okay. (1972). Why is all this stuff from the 70s, dude? What the fuck? Let's see. Gerard McNeil, Canadian Press. Yep. This is about what I expected from all this. Something about Ottawa. Oh, this is 48 pages. Oh, shit. This is going to crush me. Is this a 201 form? Indications of scope of possible damage of new allegations by Ramparts magazine. Okay. Wait. How's that worded? Indications of the scope and possible damage of new allegations by Ramparts magazine. Okay, all right. They're pissed off that a magazine's writing some shit. Was the other Kennedy dead at this point? 68? I don't even remember what month it was. Let's see if it's about him. I'll look it up. Return to CIA. Background use only. Do not reproduce. So are these? So these documents? They're in the FBI's possession, but this was supposed to be returned to the CIA. That's weird. I didn't think we were going to get any of the CIA stuff. I thought we were just going to get the FBI stuff. But I guess maybe it all went to one place back then. Deputy Director for Plans, Assistant Deputy Director for Plans. Indications of the scope and possible damage of new allegations by Ramparts magazine. The memorandum is furnished for information only. Early in April 1968, the Office of the General Counsel made available to Central Cover staff a copy of a letter and an attached list of organizations sent to the Internal Revenue Service by Mr. John Frappier of Ramparts magazine. The letter, dated 5th of April 1968, had been furnished OGC through IRS liaison channels. The letter appended a list of 145 tax-exempt organizations, indicated that all were suspected of having been funded by or having cooperated with the CIA. Woo! Oh my God. Someone get Elon Musk on the phone, man. 145 tax-exempt organizations. They were funded by the CIA. It's crazy. The letter indicated that the listed organizations were only a part of the organizations being scrutinized by Ramparts, and that other available sources of information on these and other suspected organizations had already been examined. The other sources of information were stated as including the literature of the organizations and interviews with their staff members, records available in the Attorney General's office in Illinois, Massachusetts, and New York, data available at the National Information Bureau in New York, Group Research Incorporated in Washington, D.C., and the Foundation Library Centers in New York and Washington, and the 990A returns available at the district offices of the IRS. The letter requested 990A returns for specific years, and in most cases, the Form 1023 application for tax-exempt status. Ramparts asked the IRS to make these materials available for inspection at the mutually convenient time. A review of the available CIA data on the listed organizations has shown that 89 of them were at one time or another somehow associated with the CIA. Only 2 of these. Huh. Only 2 of these, and then it's redacted. How about that shit? Redacted. Only 2 of these. What were those 2 doing? Are of current operational interest. These 2 activities and 45 organizations formerly of interest to the CIA were mentioned in the American press during whatever that is, because that looks redacted. I mean, 42 other listed organizations, which were in fact associated with the CIA, were not exposed during that. We have found no evidence that 55 organizations on the list were overly directed or indirectly associated with the CIA. Because 2 of the names on the list are successive names for the same organization, the actual total number of organizations listed is 144 rather than 145. 3 additional project organizations, not included in the Ramparts list, may be vulnerable because they are covertly funded by hitherto unexposed foundation funding instruments included in the list. Only one of these blank is of current operational interest. The CA. So they're admitting. Am I wrong here? Or are they admitting that 144 of these are actually have some involvement with the CIA? So 144 organizations out there being funded. Supposedly they're saying they were funded by the CIA. These people are saying, well, we found that 144 of them, 145, but 2 of them are the same thing. So 144 of them are actually have some contact with the CIA, but they're not admitting that they're funded yet. The CIA staff was furnished a copy of the Ramparts letter and list, and has checked out the organizations of possible previous. Is that California staff interests? All organizations not readily identifiable with the known project organization or as CCS funding instruments have been traced with RID, with CS. Not even sure what RID is. Whatever. 3-letter organizations with CS area divisions that might logically have been an interest in them against the CCS registry files. Though arrangements with the IRS, representatives of CCS and CGC also examined available IRS data on the listed organizations. This was done before the IRS documents were made available to Ramparts in order to be sure that restricted Part 1 data would not be furnished to Ramparts and to try to establish the reasons for Ramparts' interest in the organizations. Our current findings are the results of these various file reviews. So this was done before the IRS documents were made available to Ramparts. So they gave them the info they wanted, but they went through it first. Okay. Attached here too are annexes listing and discussing the several categories of organizations on the Ramparts list. Annex A deals with 2 organizations on the list which are still of active operational interest. With the 2, okay, so just looking at the 2 organizations. Both received press mention during whatever. Annex B lists and discuss. Let me see what this. Let me see if this comes up with anything. MH Dow. Because other people looking into this stuff have figured some of this stuff out. Recently, let's see. Surrounding. Okay, so. No, I'm getting some names here, but I'm not getting. Yeah, I'm not getting anything. So I don't know what this MHL thing is. All right. So NXB lists and discusses under several subcategories of 42 organizations which the agency had has had some direct or indirect operational ties in the past, which were not cited in the press during SMH Down. NXC lists the 45 organizations included in the April 1968 list, which had former agency operational ties, which were subject to the press allegations during that. NXD lists and briefly discusses the 55 organizations included in the Ramparts list that had no known operational connection with the CIA. So 55 included, okay, so 55 of them had no known operational connection. Okay, so it still leaves, what, 90? Somewhere around 90. NXE lists and discusses 3 hitherto unexposed operational activities that are not included in the April 1968 Ramparts list, but which are vulnerable because they were covertly funded by hitherto unexposed finding instruments included in the Ramparts list. NXF shows a copy of the full April 1968 Ramparts list. That'll be interesting if that's in here. The 42 former project organizations listed and described at NXB, which have not previously been charged with CIA association in American press comment, fall into 5 general categories. A, foundations and other organizations used as witting funding conduits for covert subsidies to project organizations and other operational activities. Wow, that's a big sentence. Yeah, that's a big sentence. 16 organizations fall into this category. 11 of them are multi-purpose legitimate foundations which were recruited by CCS. 4 were created or recruited for exclusive use in funding. 1 project each, and 1 was used for a one-time travel grant. Witting legitimate foundations and organizations used exclusively to provide funding and status cover for singleton agents. 6 organizations were used in this way and provided cover for 7 agents in various parts of the world. Some of these organizations also provided one-time support for unwitting individuals of operational interest. Proprietary or subsidy project organizations, there are 6 of these projects. Yeah, these aren't going to tell you anything. SG Panfish, AE Striker. The 3 organizations with which there were witting operational contacts to obtain information and leads, but which were not actively involved operationally. 11 unwitting organizations which received grants from project organizations for operational or cover reasons, or which cooperated with project organizations. We cannot say with complete assurance that all 55 of the apparently innocent organizations the Rampart list is in fact never had any agency ties. Our researchers have shown that RID indices are often incomplete. We have found operational use data in CCS files on organizations with no record for RID. The same is true in other cases where information was available to CA staff or area division files on organizations which drew a blank in RID. It seems likely, however, that any undetected operational interest in the organizations was in the period of the early 50s and of a marginal nature. So it's how they're getting their money. But some of it makes sense, right? You know, you send a guy over to, wherever it happens to be, Bangkok or something like that. You set up a rug corporation so that they can look like they're dealing in rugs or something like that. I kind of understand a little bit of that. In reviewing available information on the listed organizations, we attempted to determine whether there was a logical external basis for Rampart's interest in the organizations or whether some of the internal agency leak might be involved. Our reviews and analysis show fairly conclusive that Ramparts has been proceeding on the basis of overtly available information, supplemented by interviews with project personnel. All but 3 of the 42 terminated but hitherto unexposed project organizations and 24 of the 55 organizations which actually had no agency ties are somehow related to project organizations of funding instruments previously exposed. So, what the fuck? 24 of the 55 organizations which actually had no agency ties are somehow related to project organizations or funding instruments previously exposed. So, of those 55, 24 legitimately had funding instruments previously exposed. What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean 24 of them are actually legit, even though that you're saying that whole lump of 55 are not legit or you can't prove anything, but then 24 of them are legit? That's weird, man. Some of the organizations made legitimate or covert grants to previously exposed organizations. Others received covert or legitimate grants from previously exposed funding instruments or from innocent foundations that made legitimate grants to exposed organizations. And still others had officers who were associated with exposed CIA organizations. 31 innocent organizations on the Ramparts list, and three of the hitherto unexposed organizations of former interest to the agency have no such known ties to expose agency organizations. In most of these cases, however, the names of the organizations are similar to those of exposed organizations or are of a nature that makes them suspect. That's funny. It seems likely that Rampart's interest in a number of the 42 unexposed project organizations is based on factors unrelated to the actual CIA dealings with them. The headquarters elements that are or were responsible for the projects and activities that could be implicated by new Ramparts allegations have been notified of the foregoing findings. No further action is required at this time. So when Ramparts asked for this information, the CIA decided, hey, why do they want this information? Let's look at why they want the information rather than what the information is. So here's a redaction 29. That's all redacted. Three organizations which there have been some witting contacts, right? So these are legitimate ones. They're saying we're so 29 redacted. Okay, so it's probably still running. International Rescue Committee Inc., Manhattan, New York, under project whatever. $2,500 was furnished IRC in 1950 to 51, which that's a lot of money back then, to obtain biographic data on defectors. In December 62, IRC chairman offered cover, and FI used IRC to whatever that person's name is, declined the offer, indicating there already were useful contacts. IRC received legitimate grants from J. Frederick Brown Foundation and J. N. Kaplan Fund. That sounds familiar. And then another redaction. Another redaction. The fuck? Let's see, Director for Plans. This memorandum is furnished for information use only. Early in April 1968, the Office of General Counsel made available to Central Cover Staff a copy. Okay, so CCS is Central Cover Staff. A copy of the letter and an attached list of organizations sent to the Internal Revenue Service by Mr. John Frappier of Ramparts Magazine. The letter dated 68 had been furnished OGC through IRS liaison channels. Letter appended the list of 145 texts. Yeah, okay, we've already read that. Letter indicated that listed organizations were only part of the organizations being scrutinized by the Ramparts, and that other available sources of information on these and other suspected had already been examined. The other sources of information were stated as including the literature of the organizations and interviews with their staff members. Records available to the Attorney General's office in Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, and data available at all the same places. This is all kind of same stuff. Sensitive and secret. Wow. Let's see. Ramparts asked the IRS to make these materials available for inspection. Mutual convenient time. Yeah, this is a regurgitation of what we just read. A review of available CIA data on the listed organizations has been shown that 89 of them were at one time or another somehow associated with CIA. So we got different numbers here. Only two of these. Institute for International Youth Affairs. Wow. That's what you hid it behind? The Institute for International Youth Affairs? That's what you hid it behind? That's crazy. And African American Labor Center, Inc. Wow, that's fucked up. So you used to hide this shit to so nobody would I guess look into this. You did a fucking you used children as a cover, and you used African American Labor Center as cover. That's fucked up. Um, of current operational interest, these two activities and 45 organization, and the fact that you're funneling money into these organizations that sound like good organizations are actually covers for the CIA that's just stealing the money out of these organizations. That's fucked up. These two activities and 45 organizations formerly of interest to the CIA were mentioned in the American press during, whatever. MH Dowell, that must be, I don't know what that is. It sounds pretty big though, man. That's where there was a lot of whistleblowing going on. So I don't know if that was like a hearing or something by Congress or something like that. 42 other listed organizations, which were in fact associated with CIA, were not exposed during. Uh, we have found no evidence that 55 organizations on the list were ever directly. So there's that 55 number again. Because two of the names on the list are successive names for the same organization. The actual total number of organizations listed is 144 rather than 145. Additional project organization not included in the Ramparts list may be vulnerable because they're covertly funded by two unexposed foundation funding instruments included in the list. Only one of these, World Veterans Federation, is of current operational interest. Man, they even use veterans, dude. These fucking people. It's fucked up. The CA staff was furnished a copy of a Ramparts letter, and list has been checked in the organizations. Yeah, okay. We read that. Our current findings are the results of these various file reviews. Attached here to are annexes listing the discussion of several categories of organizations. On the Ramparts list. Damn. Can't stop hiccuping. Annex A deals with two organizations on the list, which are still active, still have active operational interest. Both received press mentioned during MHL, which is funny because they redacted them later. Let's see. Annex B lists and discuss under several subcategories of 42 organizations, which the agency have had some direct or indirect operational ties in the past, which are not cited in the press during. Oh, okay. Some of it, yeah. So I don't know if those are the ones redacted or not. I don't fucking know where they're going with this. 45 included in the April 1968 list, which had former agency operational ties, were subject to press allegations during MHL. Annex D list and briefly discusses 55 organizations included in the Ramparts list and no known operational connection with CIA. Okay. The 42 former project organizations listed as described in Annex B, which have not previously been charged with CIA association and American press comment, fall into 5 general categories. Okay, so I guess what they're saying is this is them trying to figure out how did this get out. It's that's what this sounds like, and they're saying, well, okay, so these 42 of these, this is the categories they fall into and why, they're questioning them. Foundations, other organizations use as witting funding. Okay, so some are witting, some are unwitting, some are legitimate foundations, whatever. 3 organizations which were witting operational context to obtain information and leads, but which were not actively involved operationally. 11 unwitting organizations. That's the interesting one. The unwitting organizations, the ones that were funding the CIA but didn't know that they were actually funding the CIA. Received grants from project organizations for operational or cover reasons. of which cooperated with project organizations. Then again, I kind of understand it because if you got to send somebody over there covertly to some country, they got to have a job or some reason to be there. So you got to create a company, I guess, to whatever, put a bunch of money into that company so it looks like it's legitimate. Whatever. Let's see. So we cannot say, yeah. So most of this is just regurgitation, which we already read. In reviewing available information on the listed organization, we attempted to determine whether there was a logical external basis for Rampart's interest. So trying to figure out, like, why did they want this? Why are they asking for this? All but 3 of the 42 terminated, but hitherto unexposed project organizations, and 24 of the 55 organizations, which actually had no agency ties. Somehow, yeah, okay, that's a crazy sentence again. 31 innocent organizations on the Ramparts list, and so 31 were innocent. And 3 of the hitherto unexposed organizations of former interest to the agency have no such known ties. So they're saying, like, what I'm getting from this is they're saying, okay, well, they had 145 of these, which reality they narrowed it down to 144. Good on them. And then they're saying, how did they find out about this, right? So a bunch of them came out in that MHDAO thing, and then whatever that was. And then the rest of them, they're trying to figure out, like, okay, well, how many of these could they have figured out through regular means, and how many of these might be a leak? But it sounds like they're saying there is no leak, dude. They could have figured this out by themselves. This isn't. It might just be good journalism, I guess. A number of organizations, including the 5th April 68 Ramparts list and XF. Damn, there's 48 pages of this. They were into this. Organizations on the 5th April 68 Ramparts list that are currently operational interests: African American Labor Center, Manhattan, New York. Project QR Stomp. Irving Brown continues as executive director and uses this relationship as status cover for operational travels in African and Europe. African and Europe? Okay. Although covert funding of AALC has been suspended, black bag payments, that sounds so devious, and by him to operational contacts may be implicitly attributed to AALC. AALC received press publicity during MHDAO. Brown was named as CIA agent in the Braden Saturday Evening Post article. So they're breaking down how they found out about this stuff. Institute for International Youth Affairs, Manhattan, New York, under Katzenbach guidelines and DDP decisions, was to be reestablished abroad as a condition for continuation of the project. Various possibilities in Europe have been explored and vetoed. Steps are currently being taken to reallocate the activity in Belgium. Received limited press mention during MHDAO, and only in the context of its Free Europe Committee origins and its former funding by the International Development Foundation. Terminated. Is that White House Project? I don't know. Is vulnerable because of its former funding by the cult and... Oh, shoot. I'm getting a damn phone call. I can't answer the phone right now, dude. Hold on. I gotta... Okay, sorry about that. Is vulnerable because of its former funding by cult and whatever foundations, as well as by Rubenstein Foundation, not on the April 68 list, but of known interest to Ramparts, and by Florence and W. Alton Jones Foundations exposed during MHDAO. Okay. Cult, huh? Cult was funding some of this shit. Is that the cult? 16 writing conduits used for attributing covert subsidiary funding. Um, 16. Okay. Whitting conduits. Okay. So these are the ones that knew what they were doing. Branta Foundation, White Plains, New York. CCS recruited legitimate foundation used in 1964 for a covert grant to the Unexposed Freedom Fund, Inc., and in 1965 for a covert grant to the Exposed International Development Foundation. Branta is a family foundation of Gene and Harvey Picker. Hello. Let's see. Let's see. Cold Foundation Inc. Cold Foundation. Wow. That's Cold Foundation. CCS recruited legitimate foundation, used 66 for covert grants to the following exposed project organizations. Of course, they're not going to give us that. There's no way they're going to give us that. COLT was also used for 62 to 65 covert grants to hitherto unexposed project organization, whatever. They're not going to give us that. Little Foundation, Willoughby, Providence, Rhode Island. CCS recruited legitimate foundation used from 61 to 64 for covert grants. Okay. Let's see. McGowan Family Foundation. Recruited legitimate foundation, 65 for covert grants to the exposed and unexposed. All right. Meek Foundation, which that's it looks like it's a suit because they keep writing these numbers next to these, which I think is probably leads to a list of who these foundations really are or what the real names are on them, but I don't know. CS recruited legitimate foundations, covert grants. Okay, so Munson Foundation, 61, 64 grants. Olin Foundation, legitimate foundation for covert grants, and the Unexposed. Olin Foundation appears as contributor on a brochure, but this is the John Olin Foundation, which is not the Rampart on the Ramparts list. Was reimbursed by CCS. Okay, whatever. Robinson Foundation. Jeez, they're all just names, dude. All just fucking names. So they don't mean anything. Manhattan, New York. Recruited a legitimate foundation for covert grants to the exposed. Yeah, whatever. Oh my god, I only wanted to go for an hour, dude. And this one right here is like I'm only halfway through it. Rothlem Charitable Trust. Okay. Sonnabend. Covert grants to be to the exposed and to the unexposed. Okay. Sunin Foundation. Covert grants that was exposed. Homeland Foundation. 62 to 66. Covert grants. Its ties to FICD were presumably leaned from Illinois State Records. Institute for so this is all like basically how they found out about these organizations, what they're trying to figure out here. CCS recruited them, covert grants to made legitimate grants to Overseas Education Fund of League of Women Voters. What the fuck? Overseas Fund for League of Women Voters. Institute for International Education and Institute for Social Science Research. Wow. Anyway, let's see. American Heritage Foundation. Woo! That's one I've heard before. Manhattan, New York. Legitimate foundation recruited by former IO division as funding conduit and fundraising organization for whatever, both mentioned during MHDOW. Used in the early 1950s. General whatever Smith, former DCI, became president of the foundation in 55. Council on Race and Caste in World Affairs. Proprietary funding established, whatever, for covert funding of the exposed. Governmental Affairs Institute, Washington, D.C., legitimate organization recruited by CCS. One-time witting use in 1957 to handle U.S. travel arrangements for a visiting Indonesian delegation under some project. The travel was ostensibly sponsored by a law firm, which reimbursed. The institute was subsequently sued or used on an unwitting working level basis as a conduit for funds attributed to the State Department to support a Soviet realities briefing center in New York City under SB Project. Okay, all right. Is overtly tied to exposed organizations because board members has received legitimate grants from Carnegie Endowment. So Government Affairs Institute, that's a big one. 6 winning organizations used as status and funding cover for singleton agents abroad. Aid Refugee Chinese Intellectuals, Inc. What the fuck? What the fuck does that even mean? Aid Refugee Chinese Intellectuals, Inc. So you're bringing over Chinese intellectuals? Hong Kong branch was used in the early 1950s by a Hong Kong station as a source of leads. Yeah, so you weren't helping people. Was financed by State Department through arrangements with USKP cover. Was provided by Hong Kong for contract agent under 1960 under a project. Received a legitimate reimbursement salary supplemented by Black Bag. He was terminated in 1960. That don't sound good, man. That don't sound good at all. Mr. Fletcher, field representative in Hong Kong, was reportedly a witting U.S. Army intelligence source. American Korean Foundation, Inc. This makes sense, right? Hong Kong, Korea. This is all stuff like this is all happening right around Vietnam, right? Well, no, 57. These are in the 50s. So what were we paying now? 60, 1960. So, and then when was this guy? I didn't say. I'll give you a date. So I'm guessing like a lot of this, like since it's Korea, Hong Kong, there's probably a lot of lead up to the Vietnam War. What was going on down there with the French at the time? Provided cover in Seoul, Korea for staff agent under project, whatever, for spotting and assessing students. Ooh, that's not good. Salary was reimbursed by attorney James Goldrick of Shields, and CCS made the arrangements. This person resigned from the CIA in 1958 to join the foundation legitimately. Dr. Howard Russ, president of American Korean Foundation, was actively associated with the FISIG project. He was also an unwitting consultant to and collaborated in a project to bring Algerian war veterans to the U.S. What? What? I mean, did we have like Algerian like war fighters that were on our side or something doing something dirty? Do we have to bring them to the U.S. otherwise they get killed? I mean, what is that? American Political Science Association. Yeah, that sounds fucking nebulous. Provided status cover. A contract employee in Washington, D.C., April, November 56, in Bangkok, Thailand, November, December 56. So 56. Yeah, this is like after the Second World War, quite a bit after. There's like nothing going on down there at this time, except I guess the French. Maybe we were helping the French out. I don't fucking know. He was terminated at the end of 1966. Anytime they say this person was terminated, dude, it's like, man, when you're talking about the CIA, that's kind of a scary thing. But the end of 1967, so when the war started popping off, they got rid of him. They got him out of there. Although I don't know, presidents and stuff like that. Who knows? Let's see. Served as the ostensible sponsor of travel by from California to DC for July of 59 annual meeting. Funding was via other channels. Was used in October 65 as a point of contact in DC for an for an individual who's traveled. Damn it, I wasn't supposed to be on this long. To the U.S. was sponsored by the executive director of APSA has long been who heads the exposed to receive legitimate 1966 grant from Kaplan Fund. I've heard that name before, Kaplan. 1966 grant, so 66. That was between the two assassinations. Let's see, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. The fucking names, dude. Used on a negotiating basis in 1956 to provide an ostensible grant to Khazar or whatever for residents in Germany. Actual payments were by black bag. Oh, you guys, man, fucking crazy. Made legitimate grants to Foreign Policy Association and Governmental Affairs Institute. So this money was being funneled to the other. So maybe that's how they got this, right? This thing's being funneled to other things that are on this list. Middle East Institute, Washington, D.C. God damn. So we're talking about, 59 to 61 provided CS negotiate cover for this person in Baghdad. So this person was working in Baghdad. Fuck, dude. Back in 60. Let's see. So something like this, I understand, right? So, he was working for the Middle East Institute. He ended up in Baghdad, supplementing a cover grant from the Institute of Public Administration, which was reimbursed by the exposed Marshall Foundation, in turn reimbursed by. Can you imagine trying to figure this shit out? God, that's why they do this, I guess. But if you're a foreign government, where's this money coming from? Well, the Marshall Foundation, and that was reimbursed by Patman Exposed Beacon Fund. Dude, what the fuck? This person remained in Baghdad under the cover of the subsequently exposed and the vulnerable, the National Academic Research Society. He was in Beirut and the U.S. 63, 67. Under other, that's supposed to be national covers. He was denounced as CIA by the press in 1964. He converted to a staff employee under nominal Army civilian cover in 67 for headquarters duty. Provided cover in Cairo, 60 to 63. An Army employee under was reimbursed by CCS. Okay. Phelps Stoke Fund, Manhattan, New York, provide cover for this person, a former official, former U.S. NSA official in Kenya and East Africa, 63, 65 under project whatever. Received 2 grants, 6,000, 4,000 from Phelps Stokes, which keeps coming up a lot, which were reimbursed by the MH Dowell Exposed Tower Fund. Resigned from the agency in 65. Phelps Stoke is listed as cooperating group in a publicity brochure. 6 project organizations. Okay. American Friends of Refugees. Oh, all right, bro. All right. You imagine putting that on a business card? American Friends of Refugees. Instrumentally, a project, who cares, which provided resettlement support of defector reception center in Germany. That might be where some of this might be where it was going with homeboy here, Oswald, who liked to defect. The Augustus whatever was also an officer of the Tolstoy Foundation and International Research of Communist Techniques. All right, bro. All right, whatever. International Research for Communist Techniques. Interesting. Was funded by the Exposed San Joaquito Fund. American Friends of Russian Freedom. Jesus, these fucking names, dude. Manhattan, New York. former name of American Friends of Refugees. So the American Friends of Refugees was founded out of American Friends for Russian Freedom. Whatever, bro. Whatever. International Research on Communist Techniques. So I wonder if that's probably the duplicate is the American Friends of Refugees and the Russian Freedom. International Research Communist Techniques. That's the same one. Successor organization to committee to combat Soviet kidnapping. There was a committee to combat Soviet kidnapping, which was established in 1954 at the initiative of Vladimir Rudin, head of the American branch of the Russian Emigre organization, following the Koklov affair, and is subsidized under whatever project. Changed its name to International Research Communist Techniques. The two organizations successively received sterile grants under Project AE Striker, which I think we read something about that before too, at $14,000 a year. Published a magazine, Behind the Soviet Lines, which was distributed in the U.S. and the UK to generate opposition to Soviet acts of violence. Yeah, okay. In addition to officers included who was associated with Project Whatever and the Tolstoy Foundation and Eugene Lyons, former president of American Committee for Liberation of the People of the USSR. My God. American Committee for Liberation of the People of the USSR. Fuck me. Its attorney was, former OGC staffer and currently the backstop for Victoria Projects entity under DD Projects. Okay. Freedom Fund. Okay, here we go. Some stuff that actually sounds normal. Established under SB Project and transferred around 62 to DO as Project, whatever. CIA support terminated in 1967. Headed from its inception by Carl Chadsey, it was used until 61 as a funding channel for NTS Project Whatever, as well as a propaganda outlet. It was a propaganda outlet. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Freedom Fund Inc. was covertly funded by the Branta, whatever. And let's see, the latter two were exposed during MH-Dow. So got to find out what that MH-Dow is. International Research Institute Inc., Princeton, New Jersey. There's a nebulous title again. This is probably, they don't even fucking know. This is probably a new name for the International Institute of Social Research in Princeton, New Jersey, which was cited in the New York Times on 26th of October, 1958, as receiving funds from subsequently exposed Dearborn Foundation. Dearborn provided substantial covert funds, 55 to 62, to the Research Council, Inc., as affiliate of Princeton University Office of Public Opinions Research. Fuck me, dude. The Princeton University Office of Public Opinions Research. Dude. These fucking people are crazy. For in-depth opinion studies carried out by in selected countries throughout the world, 1961, through clerical error, checks for see below were reversed, making these organizations mutually witting. Okay. Scientific Engineering Institute, Inc., proprietary project. Ramparts has recently sought to interview some of the project principals. Has special sensitivity because of its prestigious and well-connected principles. It was covertly funded through the cult, McGowan, blah, 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 foundations, all these different foundations. Will show grants of 1 million. Ooh, 1 million back then. Ooh, that's crazy. That was a lot of money back then, man. It's a lot of money now. People to People Health Foundation, also known publicly as Project Hope. Yeah, great. This organization is related to the former FIOPS project, SG Panfish. It was mentioned during MHL in the context of a legitimate grant by the Exposed Hobby Foundation. Was covertly funded by the Exposed Dearborn and Marshall Foundations. It has also received legitimate grants from, yeah, okay. 3 organizations with which there have been some witting contacts. Well, they said some of the ones above were actually witting contacts. But whatever. American University's Field Staff, Inc. Kermit Roosevelt had contact in 1950 with this place on possible cover use of AUFS, American University Field Staff. In 1956, contacts reported a continuing relationship with American University Field Staff for exchange of information. There apparently was some covert exploitation until book dispatch number whatever, the 4th of October 1965, prohibited further use. Henry Riston, president of this and Brown University, was contacted in 1952 on use of a separate Brown University facility for agent cover. Wow, so they infiltrated Brown University. That's crazy. And that's how they did it. International Rescue Committee, Inc. Under Project Gaunt, $2,500 was furnished this International Rescue Committee in 1950-51 to obtain biographic data on defectors. In December 62, IRC Chairman Leo whatever offered cover, and FIU's blah, 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 don't care. IRC received legitimate grants from J. Frederick Brown Foundation, the Kaplan Fund, that keeps coming up. Iran Foundation. You already have a dude in Baghdad under one of the other foundations. Now you got this one under Project whatever, don't care. 3 officers of the foundation were cleared and apparently contacted by staff agent 1956 for planned cover use of IF in placing a physician in Iran under medical cover. The proposal aborted when the agent prospect resigned in 1956. Okay. So I'm going to spend 2 years over there. 11 unwitting organizations, which were funded by or collaborated with project organizations. American Student Aid Fund received cover grant. Association for International Development. Oh my God, that one's probably still around. May have received funds from whatever. Was on aid board. Association of International Development. Commission for International Development. So you have an Association for International Development, and you have a Commission for International Development. Down here, you have an Experiment in International Living. Then you have an International Center for Social Research. I mean, come on, dude. Seriously? Really? Operated by, okay. International Peasant Union. Bro. Wow. Okay. How would you want to work for that one? International Peasant Union. That would look good on a business card. For 15 years. Even hiding that. Like, what do you do? Like, you're covert, you're undercover. Who do you work for? The International Peasant Union. Fucking crazy. Kuseth Foundation. Let's see. American Council for Emigres in the Professions. Whatever the fuck that means. Oh, my God. Provided employment leads. I may have received funds. I'm going to have to write all these down and figure this shit out. Let's see. Overseas Education Fund of the League of Women's Voters. Now, this isn't the League of Women's Voters you get the junk mail from. This is overseas. Cooperated with the Interchange Foundation, headed by, whoever. Harvey Picker, that name keeps coming up, and what proved an abortive effort under a joint CASR project to sponsor the U.S. visit of a group of prominent Soviet women. Interchange Foundation received $3,500 from the Independent Foundation and its share. The funds were redirected to a feasibility survey on establishing an international women's organization. Okay. American Friends of Vietnam. All right. Well, that didn't last long. Under project, whatever, grant was made 1958. 1958. To defray the cost of a trip to Vietnam by Lieutenant General John Daniel, retired. President of AFVN, American Friends of Vietnam. Allegedly, neither was aware of the CIA sponsorship. Where'd you think the money was coming, bro? Whatever. United States, South African Leadership Exchange Program. Okay, I guess that sounds somewhat legit. Operate as a program. Yeah. They even got into the exchange business. That's crazy. 18, CCS multipurpose funding conduits, legitimate and proprietary. Anderson Foundation, Benton Foundation, Broad High Foundation, Brown Foundation, Cathwood Foundation, Dearborn Foundation, Dodge Foundation, Florence Foundation, Granary Fund, Hobby Foundation, Hoblitzel Foundation, Independent Foundation, Jones Foundation. It seems like most of these are in New York. We do have Texas and Boston here. Tower Foundation, McGregor Fund, Hab Charitable Foundation, Rosenthal Foundation. Rosenthal? Out of Chicago? Huh. That's interesting. Let me see here. Because I do know that name. Everyone knows that name. Anybody that's been to Vegas knows that name. Let's see. Oversaw theft of millions of cash, Stardust Hotel on behalf of the Chicago outfit. And with the aid of his boyhood friend, mob enforcer Anthony the Ant Spilatro, until Nevada authorities forced him out in 1978. Chicago, Illinois. What do you know? What was his real name? Because this is saying Benjamin. He was Frank. Let's see. Yeah, because you look up Rosenthal, it's all that comes up anyway. I'm not seeing a Benjamin Rosenthal. It's interesting, though. I mean, that is interesting. It could be a coincidence, but yeah, you could have. There could be a lot of Rosenthals right around Chicago, but yeah, Lefty Rosenthal was from Chicago, and since all the stuff was in the 50s and 60s, the dates kind of match. Committees for self-determination. Oh my God. It's taken over by the International Development Foundation, the IDF. Oh, whatever. I don't care to try and figure out what that says. American Committee for Cultural Freedom. American Fund for Free Jurists. What? Voluntary funding, International Committee for Jurists under protection or under project. What? American Society of African Culture. Yeah, that sounds fake. Committee for Correspondence, Inc. Action Organization for International Women's Activities under Project. Okay. Farfield Foundation. Whitnoy Trust for Charitable Purposes. Whitnoy Trust for Charitable Purposes. Manhattan Fund for International Cooperative Development. Condo for Cooperative League of the USA. Okay. Institute for International Labor Research. Okay. Kaplan Fund. There's Kaplan Fund. Funding conduit used for, under project, its exposure by Congressman Patman in August 64 implicated 8 CCS and notional and proprietary funding conduits and facilitated many MH-style exposures. Okay. National Association, Education Association of the United States. Okay, dude. U.S. affiliate of World Confederation of Organizations of the Teaching Profession under Project whatever. Fuck. Oh, 3 formerly Youth and Student Organization, Independent Research Service, World University Service, Operational Crossroads, Africa. Let's see, Roof Organization under Project. Okay. Operation Crossroads, Africa, unwitting recipient of cover grants. It may have been supported, project. It received legitimate grants from Brown Foundation. Funds for International Social and Economic Education. Ramparts Equal listing incorrectly states was formerly Center for Rural Development, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, actually replaced whatever. Peace with Freedom, Inc. What the fuck? Action organization under project related to projects and certain European socialist activities. These are known to be current interest to Ramparts. Oh, so that's one they really want. They want to talk about all the anti-Soviet stuff. 8 area division project organizations: African American Institute, Friends of India Committee, Synod of Bishops of the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia. Oh my God. International Development Foundation, Pan American Foundation. I heard a little bit about that. Operations and Policy Research. Okay. Didn't say much about that. Institute of Public Administration, Manhattan, New York, recruited and exclusively used for agent cover and support. Okay. Used operational until 67. The Philippines, Nigeria, Lebanon, and Africa. Tolstoy Foundation, I heard a lot about them. Recruited by as agent for cover, 52, provided cover in Germany for SB staff. Agent, under project, used by for leads assistance. Okay. Unwitting recipients of cover grants. Oh my God, there's gonna be a fucking shit ton of these. Institute for International Education, Inc. Organization received small cover grants. It also received legitimate grants from 6 foundations used as cooperating covert funding mechanisms. I'm actually kind of glad to see these blank pages at this point, man. I'm tired of reading through this. 55 organizations, 55 with no known CIA connections. 5 organizations which made legitimate grants to CIA projects. Okay. Avalon Foundation, Church Foundation, Hochschild, Lindsay Fund. 8 organizations which received legitimate grants used by CIA. American Asian Educational Exchange. Yeah, that sounds legit. American Council for Nationality Service. Yeah, it sounds legit. Center for Information on America. Yeah, it sounds totally legit. Committee of 70, Inc. Yeah, that sounds like a Bond villain. Um, let's see, Eisenhower Exchange Fellowships. Yeah, I can see why they're asking about these because these just don't sound right. Um, Foreign Policy Association, um, Freedom House Inc., Near East Foundation. Yeah, it sounds totally fucking legit. Bodeman Foundation, Old Dominion Foundation, um, Institute for Social Science Research. Two organizations which receive legitimate grants from suspect donors. American Emergency Committee for Tibetan Refugees. Um, yeah, okay. Yale in China Association. Yale in China Association. All right. Good on you. Six organizations who officers, directors were associated with CIA projects. English speaking union. English speaking union. English speaking union. A bunch of people from that. So there's Manhattan, San Francisco, and Chicago. So they had different offices. Institute for American Strategy, Chicago. Advisory committee includes, former DDI staff employee, received legitimate grants from Carnegie Endowment, League of Women Voters Education Fund, uh, yeah, Roxco Foundation, 31 organizations with no evident connections to the others except that their names may be suspect. African American Students Foundation, American Academy of Political and Social Sciences, American Foundation for Overseas Blind, American Fund for Czechoslovak Refugees, American Institute of Pacific Relations, American Institute of Research in the Behavioral Sciences. Dude, like these aren't as bad as some of the ones above, dude. American Labor Conference on International Affairs, Atlantic Council for the United States, Center for Cross Cultural Communication, Center for the Study of International Development. Yeah, that sounds shady as shit. Community Development Foundation, Council for International Program for Youth Leaders and Social Workers, Farmers and World Affairs, Free China Fund for Medical Refugee Aid, Fund for Relief of Cuban Exiles, Fund for Relief of Russian Scientists and Writers in Exile, Institute for Propaganda Analysis, Inc., Institute of World Affairs, Inter-American Press Association Scholarship Fund, International Development Services, International Legal Aid Association, International Mass Education Movement, International Service of Information Foundation, that means nothing, International Social Service American Branch, League for Industrial Democracy in Manhattan, Near East College Association, Randolph Education Fund, Stevenson Memorial Fund, Tall Timbers Research, United States Committee for Refugees, Worldwide Broadcasting Foundations, Inc. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. So, yeah, we're almost done here. 3 former project organizations, not included in the April 1968 Ramparts list, but vulnerable because they were funded by organizations on the list that funded exposed organizations. Medical Services International, Human Ecology Fund, World Veterans Fund. Let's see, received substantial grants. 2 other project organizations. Man, the World Veteran, they used that. The CIA was using that. That's messed up, man. Whatever. Let's see, Ramparts. Ramparts magazine is under contract to McGraw Hill Publishing Company to produce a book dealing with organizations that were funded by or cooperated with the Central Intelligence Agency. We've already obtained much of the background information on these organizations from the following sources: inspection of the organization's literature and interviews with their staff members, inspection of records obtained from the Charitable Organizations Division of the Attorney General's Office in the states of Illinois, Massachusetts, and New York, the National Information Bureau of New York, the Foundation Library in New York and Washington, D.C., and Group Research, Inc. in Washington, D.C. In order to complete the research, it is very important for us to inspect the 990A tax forms of organizations, which, for various reasons, we have been unable to inspect at the district office of the Internal Revenue Service. Following your suggestion during our telephone conversation, we are submitting an alphabetical list which includes the location of the organization and the years of the 998 forms that we still not I don't know, inspect. All of the organizations listed appears in cumulative lists. Organizations described Section 170 of the Internal Revenue Service Internal Revenue Code of 1954. And this, okay. Although this is a sizable list, we have narrowed it to the most essential organizations currently under investigation. We will call next week, clarify questions you may have, and make an appointment for the inspection. If it is agreeable to you, several of our researchers will come to your Washington office when the files are ready so that we may complete the work as quickly as possible. Are there any questions? Oh, there's a phone number. You want to call them. List of organizations for which requested. Okay, so here's all those organizations. They put X's on some of them. Huh. Yeah. Interesting. But I don't think I'm going to get through this whole. I mean, I'm done with this here, but I'm trying to get through one of these pages every time, and I don't think I'm going to do it this time. Yeah, I don't want to go any further in this. Yeah, I'm good on that. So, I don't know, not much coming out of that. Just if you could, I mean, if a person was so inclined, which I'm guessing there's plenty of people out there doing that, you could probably cross-reference a lot of those organizations to what they had posted there, and then cross-reference them to the various pseudonyms on the projects that they were funding to figure out which ones were funding various projects, who had the interest in the various projects. But then that still doesn't tell you what the actual project is unless you could somehow, somebody was a good enough researcher to go back and figure all that out, or at least figure out what was going on in certain parts of the world at the time. But yeah, that's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work, which would be kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't really have the time for that right now, though. I barely have time to even do this, But let's see, just for the hell of it, where did I get to? All right, so only on page 4. Page 4 of 236. There's 236 pages here. God, I was thinking it was 2,300 whatever. It's only 236. This is page 4 though. So yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to get through all this, but that's where I'm leaving off, just so I know next time I start up. All right, everybody, you guys have a good day. What's left of it, and I'm gonna get out of here.